Honey, come on! Dane Cook, pay-per-view, 20 minutes. Let's go!
If it was illegal to say stupid things into a microphone,
why must you be so stupid?
these guys would be doing life without parole.
Hey, everybody, we're back from prison.
Why do we keep encouraging this kind of behavior? It's the Breaking the Ice podcast with Josh Dolan.
You know, we could, go to jail for this.
Along with Mike Shue and Isaiah Moskahana Bonsa Monablitz Boskowitz, whatever the hell his name is.
Oh shit! We just got Zoom bombed by a guy.
Wait,
I don't know.
Who the fuck's this?
I don't know. He's wearing a sleeveless shirt, but I don't know.
Josh, who the fuck are you inviting on the show?
Take me to the gun show, Dane.
Looks like one of those Arlington kids.
Am I allowed to talk at this point? I thought I was still being ghosted.
Oh,
I thought I was being ghosted by your breaking news.
No,
we just fucking babble on. This is how the show starts. So you're considered a Zoom bomber on the show, Dave.
Boom. Well, you know what? Here's the way we do things tech-wise. Now I put you guys on my live TikTok. So how's that go?
Do it right now. Go.
It's on. We're all on together now. It's symbolic.
Oh, God, really? Now, hey, so can we swear? Or is this a kid show? I mean, what's the deal?
Is it a
PG?
kid show?
Is it a kid show? I'm 50. What are you talking about? Is this a kid show?
50. Wow.
Yeah. I'm sponsored by PBS now is basically how I'm.
Have you gotten your AARP flyers in the mail yet? Are they begging you to join? Because when I turned 45, they were already on my ass, sending me the magazine and coupons. And
I haven't gotten that, but I'm actually getting a colonoscopy as we speak.
Oh,
nice.
Wow. That's why you're drinking that fucking awful fluid right there. Clean out your asshole.
Wow, 50, man. Congratulations. You're welcome to the club.
I made it. Oh my goodness.
Josh. Yeah.
I went back. I did a gig back in Boston a few months ago with Burr, and it was a remembrance for a friend of ours who sadly passed away, Wayne Previty. And we put a lineup together of basically all the cronies that we started our, career with. I'm in 31 years. I think Burr's around 30. And all 12 guys on the lineup were bald except for me. So I'm the winner of hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Bill Burr, Bob Kelly, everyone's just
bald.
Yeah, full skinhead.
It happens to some of us, Dane. It happens to some of us, and I blame my children.
Oh, is that the key?
Well, I just have one child, but one child can do this to you. Definitely.
I think the hair loss might, if you're losing your hair too, Shu, it could be the water in Worcester, because I know you guys did a lot of gigs at the Aku there, so maybe it's up in the water in Worcester.
Dane, last time we talked about you doing a gig at the old Aku in Worcester.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Then, they had the sit down Miss Pac-Man cocktail table version.
Yes. Yeah.
And I would sit out there in between, gigs with 30 people, hopefully. And I would eat, they'd pay me in wings basically. And I'd just play that Miss Pac-Man and wait for my next gig where I hoped I wouldn't bomb.
Wait, are you still getting paid in wings?
Things have changed a little bit.
A little bit, just a little.
Since those early days. Now I just get, now they pay me in flats only. That's where I've gotten to.
Listen, it's all about priorities. Whatever the fuck you need, we'll pay you. Just get up there and be funny, right?
I mean, no bullshit. I remember playing the Billerica 99s back in 92.
Oh, yeah.
And they used to pay me $15, and I would stop at the Burlington Middlesex Turnpike Burger King, and I was like, I fucking made it. If I never go any further, these dick jokes just got me 2 burgers.
Is it still true? Burger King. Is it still true that when the Red Sox win, Dane Cook eats for free at the 99? Is that right? Is that still happen?
Yeah, but I heard that. They capped me at 10 guests. So if you're trying to tag along, it's not going to happen, Jim.
you have something with Burger King, because fucking one of the funniest fucking things I've heard. There's a bunch of shit, dude. A big fan. But your BK Lounge fucking bit.
Yeah.
You still have BK on the fucking mind because you're still saying it, but the BK Lounge with you fucking working at Burger King, but calling it the BK Lounge because it was fucking cool for the girls.
I worked at that at the Burlington near Caldor.
Dude.
Yeah.
Okay. Near fucking Caldor, kid. and Papagino's. I worked at that BK Lounge. We used to call it the BK Lounge. And that, oddly enough, the reason why that region always pops into my mind is that's also where I pulled my car over one day. I was actually driving my mom's 1978 Lincoln Mark V town car, and I pulled her car over because it was the first day I ever played a cassette of the Jerky Boys.
Oh.
And I sat in front of that Burger King and I said, I hope I can do something in my life that makes people want to pull their fucking car over and laugh. So that area and that BK Lounge will always be part of my vernacular.
Dude, but the way you would just describe fucking idiots that would scream into the fucking microphone, or the dumb bitch that would just whisper her order, and I want sauce for my pull around lady. Just fucking pull around.
We call her a Karen now. That's the modern way of saying idiot.
That's fucking great.
Would you say that you're kind of the person that started the whole Karen thing? Because in that whole fucking Brian's coming bit.
Right. I did SNL in 2006. I did the opening monologue where I did a bit that might have been on retaliation about the person who can't be in the picture, who has to take the picture, and that's the friend nobody likes. It's like, we don't even need you in this photo, and I hand the pantomime, camera to Karen. The reason I came up with that name was two reasons. Number one, there was a girl that I had a huge crush on when I worked as a dietary aide in a nursing home, and her name was Karen, and she rejected me, and I was so bummed that I didn't get a shot with her. So I was scorned. Oh. And believe it or not, it was quite simply the rule of stand-up, which is like certain like k sounds are funnier, but ba and k we learned early are funnier. So I knew if I said Karen, I could say here Care, and I thought that was a funnier sound than another name. So did I start it? I guess because by way of Karen was really not included,
That's at least you that girl rejected you, but at least you got some valuable insight on, now that you're 50, on what you should be eating and at what time, like the applesauce at 4:00. And
the pureed filet that I used to have to I'd blend an entire fucking sirloin steak. Oh my God. Okay. And by the way, from my TikTok audience, I am on the Breaking the Ice podcast right now. And if you're listening and having a good time, you can find these guys. Where do they find you? You guys on what's your socials?
We're on Instagram, Twitter. The Instagram is Breaking the Ice podcast. And
all right. You're getting a lot of likes. As you're mentioning that, we're getting a lot of hearts. So
nice. Look
at us helping each other out here like a fucking bunch of Boston cronies.
Dude, go to the website.
Well, you're coming back. You're going to be in Boston Saturday night. And Dane, we talked, a few months ago.
That's right.
And I think that was the second try at doing the kind of shows you wanted to do. Now you talked about like a multimedia. There was going to be a lot of different, moving parts to the show. You said it was going to be completely different from the usual hour comedy special, but this time you're going to be doing something stripped down this time though, right?
Well, because we're going to, my next special was initially going to be filmed in March of 2020 in Boston. Of course, that got paused with the world.
Such a great fucking month in time.
Oh man. The beginning of the new era. And then, the long story short, it got pushed. We tried to reset it, and then it was like a new mask mandate. Whatever the case is, I finally had to, because I wanted to get this new special out. I filmed it in LA, but we're shooting a lot of the documentary stuff that I wanted to do in Boston anyway back there. So it's not the full filming. The 300 seats we held on to have camera positioning, we released them yesterday. So now there's like 350 seats if people want to still come out to the show. One show Saturday night.
Dude, how do people get tickets for that? So let's fill that fucking thing up.
Yeah, the tickets are actually on my profile on Instagram, or you could just go to either Ticketmaster or Bosch Center, Wang Theater.
Box Center.
Box Center.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah,
dude,
Ernie Box.
awesome.
Ernie Box has basically bought every building in town. in the Northeast.
So Ernie Bach owns Subaru of New England, so he has $42 zillion, and then he bought Everything Music because he actually does have a good foundation that supports local music. So he bought every music venue in town.
Those guys have been great. And that venue, when I played it in like 18, it was just so bombastic. It was so Boston. It was just fucking like what you want when you're on the road and you're like, oh, I did New York and I've done Vegas and I did, there's a few places that if you're really scorching the room and then you think you've hit that height, you go to Boston and being from there and then just like the way they give it up when you're giving them what they want, it's like they're the best shows that you could possibly do. So I can't wait to be coming back and doing this.
Is it harder to come home and do shows? Is it harder to do shows where you're from as opposed to doing a show in, Des Moines or LA or wherever? But it's just because you've got a history here. So does that add on to the pressure?
Jeez, I wonder if Des Moines is anything like Boston.
Well, I'm just trying to, set a contrast,
That's a contrast.
It doesn't. I think what Boston does more than anything is it's that stripped down. There's no. How can I say this? There's always showmanship when you're performing, but then it's so much looser, and it can even be more self-deprecating because they know you're a local and they know that the region, and obviously if you're a fan of mine for 30 years, that like I was playing a lot of shit gigs for a long time trying to build up that audience. The fact that you can take the piss out of yourself and they get it more than in Des Moines or somewhere else where they're just seeing you as a headliner. You go to Boston, they're seeing you as like, yeah, we remember when you helped you to get there. So
yeah, right.
You know what I mean? It's like it humbles you, but you still want to fucking crush it because that's your hometown squad.
I remember you from the 99.
That's right.
I remember you from the Silver Fox in Everett. You bomb kid.
Now, Dane, coming from, I've been doing stand-up since 2011.
Okay.
So a little less than you.
Just a little.
I'm curious, like going.
I'm a relic at this point.
Talking about those shit gigs, and then one day ending up at the TD Garden selling that out. Like, what's the difference between the anxiety, like when you first start, and then once you get to that level? Because I recently just experienced like a new anxiety that I never even like thought of, where normally you go in and you're like, oh my God, I hope they like me. And then in this past October, I did stand up for, excuse me, Mr. Scary.
Yeah.
She was doing her podcast in Drake It, and I opened, but a lot of the crowd was AAF fans, and they were coming up to me beforehand being like, dude, you're hilarious, like grabbing pictures with me. And then I slowly started to feel like, not are they going to like me? I was like, oh shit. They already like me. Now I can't let them down.
Yes. Disappointment enters the room. Yes.
But then I was immediately like, stop being a pussy. Dane Cook's done this with arenas. So
if it makes you feel any better, I think there's always that element of driving by a club, no matter what level you're at. And when you see the line around the corner, there's that weird thing of like, wow, I can't believe these people, they're here to see me. You have to almost just always get into game mode, no matter whatever I accomplished. It didn't change the fact that I just wanted to go in there prepared with the material that I thought would get somebody, whether they know me or didn't, right?
Yeah.
When you meet people before, sometimes it takes you out of your headspace because you're like, oh, now they're thinking of me as just a regular guy and not like a performer. So try to, keep that little bit of mystique, even though, there's going to be people you look out and know. I think that staying away from the crowd beforehand sometimes helps you up there to deliver at a higher caliber.
Yeah, because at my level of gigs, the green room is in the crowd. So
yeah. Well, dude, that's very similar to the radio world. I mean, Mike, you and I did that for decades, where you're not in front of people all the time. You're in a room, you're doing things, but the reaction is phone calls. The reaction is a text line. But then there is reaction when you go out to do a gig, or you get up on stage and introduce someone like you, Dane, or do whatever it is.
Right.
And you go to something and you're like, or you wear an AAF shirt, or you wear a radio station shirt, and you're like, these fucking people are rabid fans and they like what I said. What the fuck? And there is that moment of, because if you get too much into it, I think you're like,
it takes you out of it.
You talk too much, it might fuck you up for what you got to do. It's almost better to do that on the backside. Yeah. Like, thank you for coming. I love you. I'll see you next time.
It's like if you're around your cohorts before, I would say that that's the same as like if you hang with your family and only your family's in that center of the crowd, then they're like, wait, you're phony. You were just talking about being in a great mood and a this and this, and now you're up on stage saying like, I feel shitty about. So you're in your head. The one key thing, it takes years and years in stand-up to be able to get out of your own way, so to speak, get out of your head and just get up there and lean into the material and don't worry so much about, wait, they know me as this. You know what I mean? You got to take that out of the equation or else you'll start talking to that table and you'll lower your performance level because you're thinking, oh, they'll think I'm phony. But you know, there's a little bit of showmanship that you have to put on when you're up there.
Well, it's everything's also a lot of improv. You plan a lot of things, but there's a level of improv, right? There's a level of, you want to fuck around and you don't want someone to, you want to be able to go and joke and not be like, wait, you seem super happy there. Why are you being a bitch over here? Because the bitch over here is making you laugh. Right. Right.
And it's also realizing that you have to keep it, you have to have your routine, and you also have to build up that organic ability to adjust to the environment, because shit happens live. Right. And if you don't acknowledge it and make it part of what's happening, then you look even more like you're a phoney. You know what I mean?
You get killed by the audience too.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, totally. And you know what? You know what kills you more than a heckle, more than a person standing up and walking out? It's just not getting that laugh that you know you want to get or should get. That fucking that level of pain is unbelievable. When you're like, oh man, you know what? I'm off my game now because I'm in my head and I'm not hitting those laughs, and that just makes you feel like not a comedian. I'll tell you that.
Well, that's the worst reaction is no reaction. You know, if someone like I always think that, like, I go on, I say something, I look at the text line or I get a phone call and goes, "You suck. I wish you were dead. And I wish you were driving to a telephone pole," you know, stuff like that. And I'm thinking, wow, that guy, this is terrible. I'm thinking, no, wait a minute. This
he
guy
reacted.
This guy took the time to call me, you know, and that's not a lot of people, you know, it was just, so I like to think that if you get whatever reaction is, whether, hey, you're the best, or it's like, hey, I wish, you know, you got hit by a truck. Either way, you're getting a reaction. You're getting them to do something, and to get someone to get on the phone or text or call, and radio anyway. Right. You know, so like you said, like you see that these people getting up and leaving, it's like, wow, I made them leave. They paid like they paid like $30 to come.
You're like,
in
I'm
there.
like Andy Kaufman at this.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
I'm walking the room, baby.
Yeah, but you got a reaction, you know. And I always like to think, like, someone calls up and says, "You suck." I'm like, well, I just made that guy's day.
I think the worst thing is nothing.
Early in my career, I did something at like a fucking El Torito's or some pub that it was like a pub with a comedy room. Whatever I did, it walked like 20 people. Honestly, I don't remember what I was doing, but it was just failing miserable, flop sweat, and 20 people left. And when I got off stage, the manager comes up and immediately he goes, "I want to hire you to come back next week." And I go, you do? I said, yeah, that was left. I said, that was a little rough. And he goes, you sent 20 people right to the bar. He goes, I made more money with you bombing than. So it all works out as long as you stay true to who it is that you are. The gigs will come, they will go, but the gigs will come.
So listen, the people that are on TikTok that are leaving right now, TikTok should be fucking happy, or Twitter should be happy because they went somewhere else to some other platform. No, yes, maybe. I don't know.
They're headed to the bar right now.
There's other clickbait somewhere else that always pulls your audience. But I like to say, no matter what happens, they always come back.
Motherfuckers.
they can't leave you for long.
Dude, that's funny. So how is it, like, when was the last time you did a Boston gig? You said you came back, you did a gig with Burr for a friend of yours. So
yeah, we did the Wilbur Theater. Sorry, my dogs are in a circle of life moment in the background, by the way. I know it sounds like two brown bears. Hey guys, Come on.
That's the world we live in now. There could be kids screaming, bombs going off. We still do the show. We don't give a fuck.
So the Wilbur gig was it was a lot of fun just being back there and celebrating our buddy. But to be on a show with Burr, we started in the combat zone together when we were kids, and so
which is basically right there across the street.
That's it. We're the old Nick's Comedy Stop, the old Comedy Connection that then went over to Faneuil Hall, Dick Doherty's Comedy Vault. Like we were
I love the vault.
Just a couple of local hacks fucking running around town, and so it was nice to be able to come back and commemorate for our friend and do gigs. But it made me even more enthused to come back and I want to air out the whole route. By the way, this is the last time live that I will do this hour and a half chunk. I just filmed it. We filmed the special out here about a month ago. So I laid it all down. The special looks great. I think it's one of the most beautiful comedy specials that you will ever see. Aesthetically, it's gorgeous. It's funny. But this show will be the last time I do this material. When I come back to LA, I kind of start over and I'll work on the next thing.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
So my question was, the last show you did was a few months ago. So coming back to this Saturday, how does that feel for you? Like, you're from here, you're fucking BK Lounge kid. Let's go.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
It more than anything, every time I land and I'm back in that city and looking at that skyline, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that I started there. I'm grateful that I grew up there, and then that I can come back and still participate and do shows at the level that I want to do them is really, really thrilling.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You get to come back and you don't have to pay all the taxes and everything. So it's well, I guess LA is not that much better either.
LA is
what are you fucking kidding me? California is worse.
LA is
I heard it as soon as I said it. Now that's
It's like not so much.
So what do you think about Bill Burr playing Fenway? They say that he's going to be the first comedian to play Fenway, which is untrue because that was Bobby Valentine. But to come with someone that you came up with, to play here. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Amazing. In fact, some years back, I was working with them on doing. It was going to be me one night and the Eagles, I think, the next night.
No shit.
Yeah, and
wait,
like
same
a week
night or the next night?
Whatever they had it set up, like, we have the stage for the Eagles, and we also thought it would be cool to, on the night that it got set up, because a comedian doesn't need all the same, roadies and all that. And unfortunately, it never, came to pass, even though we wanted to do it. So when I heard Burr swooped in there and is doing Fenway, I was like, first of all, I was like, that's fucking cool. And then part of me was like, damn it, why didn't I rebook that?
You should text him and be like, I can open for you. Remember me?
I can open for you.
I can do I got a good 5 minutes. I got a good 5 minutes for you.
I'd open for him. I would do every classic bit, and then I'd walk off and go, follow that motherfucker.
Dude, I swear to God, if you did that, and if you didn't do the robe bit about your dad, and the quote was, what was it? Someday this will all be yours. And then you drop the fucking mic and go, up to you, bitch. I'm out.
But I do want to say, because we live in a world where comics love hazing each other and busting balls. I got to spend a little time, like I said, with Burr, and to see what he accomplished. I was the first one out of the graduating class to make it, and it was almost like good and bad. They were happy for me, but then it was daunting. Like, oh fuck, maybe maybe the odds now are, even more against me because somebody from this area, made it to this level. So to see what Burr did on his own with his podcast, with obviously what he's cultivated as a performer and as a person, I couldn't be more proud. And I'll use a Fenway term. I know he's going to knock it out of the park. How do you like that?
Yeah.
Hey-o.
Yeah.
Right, boom.
That's
Are you sure you didn't work in radio?
That's a dad joke.
Dude, right over the green monster guy.
We'll be right back.
What would be like the most Boston place to do a stand-up gig? I'm thinking, Fenway is great, but
hold on.
I got it.
Don't answer that. Let's all think of our answers. Let's all think of our answers.
Okay. All right.
Most Boston place to do a stand-up gig.
Okay.
Hold on. Right. And this is of all time?
Yeah, I mean the most Boston place you could do a stand-up gig.
Yeah. If you were gonna ready, let's pocket it like this. If you're gonna do a show and film it, and it only is gonna air regionally, what would that place be? That Des Moines or anywhere else would be like, why there? But Boston would be like, that's fucking cool. Where would that be?
Iowa keeps getting some love on this fucking show.
Dude. Hoping.
All
Des Moines, by the way, insurance capital of the United States. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Little plug. All right, sorry, here we go. All right. So this is like Jeopardy.
All right, Dane. Most Boston plays.
I think I would do mine live from Kelly's Roast Beef in Revere.
Oh, on the beach. Oh.
Dane, you just started a whole discussion.
On that roof. I would just be right in front of the Kelly sign standing there with the...
That's like the equivalent of the Beatles playing on top of Apple Records. It's like Dane Cook on the roof of Kelly's.
Either the roof of Kelly's or shut down route in Saugus right in front of the Kowloon. Is it Route 9?
You can't fucking have two guesses because that was mine.
You're gonna say Kowloon?
Yes, I was gonna say Kowloon.
Josh, you got one yet, or you want me to go?
Well, yeah, I was actually going to say Route 1 in Saugus, southbound, but just right in the road, southbound.
I think I'd rent a tractor trailer, and then I'd get onto Sturo Drive, and I'd ram that thing under a bridge. And while traffic was stopped, I'd get out on top of it and do a quick 5 minutes.
I think I want to vote up for yours. I think that's my vote.
No, you got to go Sturo Drive. Remember where the reverse the curse sign was? That's where you jam the truck up. They took that down after the 2004 World Series, but the whole reverse curve, they had the reverse the curse. You take your truck and shove that fucking thing in there, and everybody coming southbound has to look at you and go, hey, I'm here. I'm doing the BK Lounge. Suck my dick. My father's robe was this long. Eat my dick. I'm Dane Cook. I'll see you over at the fucking Wang Center tomorrow night. Good night. And then you jump off the truck and run it. And then, dive into the Charles River. Don't die. And swim up to Fenway Park.
I think Dane nailed it with the roast beef place where to film.
Oh my God, you win.
Is there any kind of like food place that you have to visit when you come back home that it's like you can't really get it out in LA, or are you just like food is food?
It feels like over the years, every time I come back there, places just disappear. It was like, wait, where's Friendly's? Right?
No, right. But yeah.
Shit just gets fucking knocked off. But I think that I still like to hit Kowloon. I still,
they're closing, dude.
I know.
What?
I know.
Yeah, you know that, Mike.
I did like an article with the Boston Globe called me randomly. They're like, I thought it was a joke. They're like, hey, can we talk to you about the Kowloon closing? And I was like, no, that's not happening. But apparently
the Wong family has literally, I think that Mr. and Mrs. Wong are in their 80s, and they're probably the amount of property they have.
Yeah.
If you think about the parking lot alone, Jesus Christ, someone came in and finally went, folks, how are you?
Right.
I've been doing great. I can only imagine the multi-millions of dollars. And they went, you know what?
Right.
Thank you. We're good. I think, I don't know the close date, but that's like the closing of fucking, what was the steak place down the street?
Hilltop.
It was
the Hilltop.
What the fuck?
That would have been a great place to do stand-up. Like in
with the cows that everybody tried to steal.
Dude, and anybody that went in, Sioux City Party of Five.
I know, do it in Sioux City. Yeah.
Sioux City Party of Five. and to have Dane Cook go up and announce that your table's ready. Sioux City Party of Five. So let me tell you about my father's robe. The fucking thing came down by his thigh, and I saw his entire fucking luggage.
Who did they sell to?
Who? Kowloon? I don't know. Dude, that's
Dane. How many of your Twitter watchers right now have no idea what we're talking about?
That's okay.
I think we're with a regional audience at this point, but people are having a great time. We're getting a lot of
Sorry about that. Sorry.
We went deep cuts on that one, but that's okay.
if they close down Kowloon and they put up a fucking Walgreens, I'm sorry. I don't care. It won't be a Walgreens.
Listening. Think about this. They're going to level that parking lot. That shit's going to be condominiums.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
That parking lot off of the highway, you had to enter that parking lot at
Carefully.
95 miles an hour.
And then go up the hill. And then go up the
you
hill.
had to exit that parking lot at 95 miles an hour, or you were fucking dead.
Dude, when you would enter the parking lot in later years, you would have to not try to hit the Bank of America kiosk, which is right in the middle.
I'll tell you what I said literally 1,000 times leaving the Kowloon after gigs. Ready? As I'm rocketing onto the highway to my girlfriend or my family member or whoever, I would say this. Ready? Hold on to the food. And then, make sure the duck sauce doesn't go all over the fucking carpet.
That's my payment for tonight.
Right. And I'll tell you what, if you left there and you thought for a second you were going to go to the Golden Banana, you better bolt and then cut a hard right again.
The Golden Banana. The Golden Banana. I haven't heard that in years. Oh my God.
And you're welcome.
Oh my God. Then swing over to Building 19 and 7/8.
Jesus. I think they finally closed that. That was in
there's none of those left.
I know.
Well, during the past 2 years, it's crazy because I'm over here on the North Shore and coming back. That building used to be Building 19 and 7/8. It was a COVID testing place for like months. And I'm like, I'm not going in that fucking building for shit.
Yeah, that's what all the Sears turned into.
Yeah.
The hour that you're doing for the last time live at the Wayne Theater, is that what can people expect? Because you used to be very physical in your act, and then you kind of evolved and there was less physical stuff. It's
still as physical and energetic. It isn't just to a place where I'm going to slip 9 discs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're 50.
It's not, but the reality is it's more honed as you get, further down the line in stand up. What you're hoping is you can rely more on many multitudes of storytelling types, all the tools in the arsenal, as opposed to just relying on sometimes the physicality, which early in your career, very bombastic, was a lot of fun. But I threw myself off a stage one time in like 98. And I was like, it's time to grow the fuck up, kid. No punchline is worth, breaking your ankle or whatever was happening back then.
Did you do that at fucking Kowloon? Because all you were getting paid in was rice. Like, really? The fuck?
There was a lot of great slapstick early in that stand-up. But truly, if you've seen the act, in the last few years, I think it's as energetic. It's just not, there's nothing that's in there that is superfluous for the sake of just throwing the body around without it being funny regardless, So that's what I'm proudest of, is that it has evolved to where I'm never going to be a standstill, guy. I love moving around. You'll watch Chris Rock. When I watch him local, he'll stand and deliver because he likes to try out his material with no, character. With me, I always love to kind of, stalk the stage and, I get up there. I love it, man. It's just love of the game. And so it's still an energetic show, but yeah, I'm not going to end up in a wheelchair at the end of it.
Well, you're 50 now. So if you go down, you might not come back up. That's the problem. You know what I mean? You're going to have a hip replacement or something. And
No. I take care of myself. I'm actually right after this. I'm going to my girlfriend's Pilates class. So trust me, I'm staying in the best shape of my week.
Of your week.
Oh
your week. Hey, you mentioned Chris Rock. Talk about the slap. What are your thoughts on that? How'd that go?
I thought it was just, we've talked about it to death, of course, but it's like, it just was so ridiculous, unnecessary. And I felt, he was humiliated on live television. It's like, but there's nobody that I look forward to more hearing his rebuttal when he's ready to, talk about it on stage or wherever than Chris. I know Chris, and I know he's going to make it tremendously funny, but that was pretty lame.
I like the fact. I don't like the fact that it happened. I thought it was so fucked up, and I'm sure a bunch of people did. The fact that it happened, he composed himself.
Yeah.
He continued on and didn't say a fucking word.
Well, he's in shock.
At this point. Yeah. But at this point, as you go weeks, the hardest thing these days, look at what you're talking about. We're on Twitter. We're on this. Everybody's got a fucking comment. This man Something happened to him that was, as you said, very humiliating. He stood his fucking ground, and guess what? I'm not going to talk about it right now because it's not time. And he will say something funny, but it's also pretty fucking serious. And good for him.
He's a pro, man.
Right.
Yeah,
good for him for
absolutely.
just shutting the fuck up and
that was
letting.
the ultimate pro moment that you could. I couldn't believe it. I don't know if I could have done that. I don't know. Most people could have handled it with that level of composure, but it still was like, man, you did want to see the side of Chris that could verbally eviscerate somebody for doing that. He kept it so composed. So I can't wait to see how he acknowledges it when he's ready to put the funny on there.
Even going to the Wilbur. He went to the Wilbur and did shows and still said, it's not time for this.
Right.
People came and said, fuck Will Smith. And he's like, don't.
Right. It was like 3 days later. So he was probably still trying to figure it out.
Well, and now we're weeks into it, and it's not the biggest thing that ever happened, but it's something that should be addressed. And I think the smartest thing, and it's so hard to do, is not say anything. Just leave it alone.
Well, I think what Chris Rock is doing, because immediately when it happened, I could tell his comedy brain started moving. You could see in his eyes he was already writing, like,
right.
What the hell just happened? How am I going to handle this right now? And
but he knew he couldn't say in that moment the way Chris Rock would like to probably, reply to that. So I can't wait to see what he finally does.
Let the rest of the world talk. And when you do a moment like that and you don't say stuff, the rest of the world says your name, and he's going to benefit from just keep talking. Thank you very much. And when it's my time,
as if Chris Rock needed more cementing for what he's contributed to stand up over and over. He's going to be not only just fine, but if anything, it's more endearing that this guy had to endure something so fucking unbelievable. But I truly can't wait to see him local. When I know he's back, I'll be at the club to kind of get an eye on what he's going to do.
Right.
Yeah. What, Dane, have you been in a moment that you can compare to that? I mean, maybe not necessarily in front of
shock value
50 million people on television, but in a situation where it's like, what do I do here? It all kind of centers on how I react to this right now.
Probably not in that. No, not in that way. Not in something that was so, like just a hard left to where you're like, what do I do now? I've had a couple of altercations over the years, especially when I first was doing stand-up. I got in a fist fight on stage one time somewhere outside of Nashville, but just, nothing that was so major or that, stuck with me for years to come. Like obviously this will be a part of the rest of Chris's life. This will be, talked about for the rest of his career.
Now, I think the person who really got humiliated there was Will Smith. I know Chris Rock got he was physically assaulted, but I think it was Will Smith can't recover from this. Chris Rock will, like you just talked about, he'll go on, he'll make gold out of this somehow. But listen, there is one, I always look at, there is one, if you want to call it a path back or new normal, there is one thing that could happen that would be like somewhat of you call it a healing moment. But if they did something together, if they chose to do something at some point, somehow, like for a charity event or for an interview, or like that could, because if Chris forgives them and then they're together, I guess you kind of look at that and go, okay, there's a path forward from that. But I think that where Will Smith is at right now is certainly the lowest moment of his life and career. I don't know if he can come back from it, but which is crazy because it happened during a really high point in his career. It's pretty crazy. It was just like the low point and then like I guess it ruined the high point. So because it happened afterwards.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, it ruined a few people's high points, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely impeded on what was, listen, the night and the show and award ceremonies in general, sometimes not to get in the weeds with it, but like, how necessary and how much self-congratulations, like I'm a comic, right? So there really is no, even though there are awards and rewards, the reality is you live joke to joke, you live show to show, and you're always trying to like put something fresh out there. And there isn't a lot of self-congratulation because by the time you're saying, look, I did it, you're bombing 2 nights later. I think that when you watch something like that, if nothing else, you just want to celebrate the hard work of all the people behind even the performances that go into making something. It's almost impossible to get anything unique made in this town. It is so fucking hard. I'm so fortunate and love stand-up because at least I can go on any night and make something up, share something without it being, you know, stopped or more people coming in and having a say, or FCC or standards and practice, whatever it might be. So the fact that anything gets made for that reason, I like seeing people have that moment of reveling in their creativity. But for the rest of it, I think that the rest of, you know, America and the world kind of looks a little bit like an award ceremony, like, okay, all right, we get it. You in a movie, it was a lot of fun. We liked it. Yeah. We're the Avengers.
Right. Yeah, the only reason why I watched the Oscars and they ruined this for a few years is just because they'd show parts of the movies, you know, and they've kind of gotten back to that. But for a while, they were just kind of showing little bits of the trailer and stuff. I'm like, no, show the scenes that really nailed it for these people. That's what I wanted to see. They should just do that. Just show scenes during the movies or something. And that way, I don't know, nobody will get slapped, I guess, if that happens.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's everything that kind of came from that. I'm sure that next year more people will be watching, though, just to go like, I wonder if anything else fucked up is going to happen. So,
they're going to have a line of like
bonanza for them.
They're going to have a line of guys with yellow security shirts standing in front of the stage, probably.
They just have Logan Paul in the audience next year, and and you're sitting there going, why would they invite him? What's going to happen?
That was the first year. I think I heard somebody say that was the first year that they kind of, because you saw the clear path, you know, from the seat to the performers. They kind of relaxed the, you know, advance, because you don't think the peers of that level are going to get up and do something fucked up like that. So now they're going to have to rethink the whole. It's just
well, maybe they'll get more viewers. Maybe that's how they should do it. All the nominees should get into the octagon.
That layout that you just described reminded me of the old booze cruises that I used to perform at, where you were just equal level with everybody just getting hammered, and you were just standing right at the fucking, you know, starboard side of the Lido deck as everybody was just pounding.
They could walk up and be like, your comedy sucks.
No, you know what they do? They would come up and randomly some dude would put his arm around you and go, this guy, and then just go back out and drink.
And that's what we're going to miss about Kowloon.
And you'd never see a fucking whale, by the way. You ever notice that? What whale watch did you ever actually see a fucking whale?
I saw whales. I saw whales on a whale watch. Yeah, it was awesome.
You were drunk.
No, I wasn't. There were kids. It was
Mike Shue does a lot of weed.
They don't. Okay, all right. I may have had some weed before I got on the boat. All right, that could have been junk. I don't know.
So Dane, Dane, I have 2 words for you.
2 words.
Nothing fight.
Nothing fight. Game-changing bit in my career, early career.
That bit, I was actually going to bring that up, that and like the Walgreens bit, because it's been a while since like I heard those specials, and when they came out, I was maybe like young high school, like 8th grade maybe, and they were hilarious, but I think they were hilarious for a different reason. And then going back, I was picking up on stuff I didn't even remember or I didn't get as a kid. So it's kind of cool to like, because I had never been in a nothing fight, and now I know exactly what you're talking about.
Dude,
well, you know what was cool? It was like, that was like a bit where there was 2 levels. It was like, if you liked the energy and the performance and the silliness and absurdity, great. But also I was hoping that like, it would ping you to where years later you could be like, oh, even the shit that I was saying was relatable. And you're like, oh wait, beyond just the antics, that's exactly the way things go down sometimes when you're in what I was calling a nothing fight. So I'm glad that bit was one of the bits that got me on my first HBO special, because when they came down and saw my show, the producers were like, can you expand upon that bit? And so a lot of it was really built around that piece.
And
That
it's
was
cool.
dude,
It's
that
cool
was
to
so
see
good.
like how it's kind of survived time too, where all the bits are like, it doesn't matter what year you listen to this special. It's fun, like ordering wrong at the fast food. Like that's funny anytime.
Yeah.
Anything, anywhere. The first time I heard the nothing fight bit, I just laughed because it doesn't matter if you're literally that can transcend across any relationship, male,
Right.
female, friends, just the bitching and moaning about, did you not get this? Did you not understand that? The fucking, I said this, I thought you were going to get the fucking car keys. The one that stuck out in my head, I don't even remember when the fuck I heard this, but it was the whole like, we're going into a game or something and you should bring your jacket or whatever. I can't remember what it was exactly, but it was just like, didn't bring your fucking jacket.
Right,
Like
right.
just bring your fucking jacket to the thing.
Yeah.
Why? Because if you don't bring your fucking jacket, I'm gonna have to fucking miss the starting fucking line. I'm gonna have to go back to the fucking car and get your fucking jacket. Would you just get your fucking jacket? And it's a fight about nothing.
Right.
And the one that really stuck out in my head was the one where you fucking
Are you
You're
gonna do
in-
Dane's entire act 2, Dane?
No, but dude, it's
Yeah,
so
just throw it back in his face right now.
It's okay. No, he's doing it better than I could do it at this point. I don't even remember it.
It's so good. The one where you're in the grocery store and you're no, of course I will, because it's fucking magic. And you're up an aisle over and the way you depict the you can't hear them, but you knew. And let me tell you this, you put Entenmann's out before Maniscalco did.
Oh, I didn't know Sebastian did an Entenmann shout out.
Listen to me and think about this. You did, your bit was
This
you
is
went by
breaking
the Entenmann's aisle to go around the corner to hear these people that were having the nothing fight.
Right.
You stopped, you watched. At this point, you grabbed an Entenmann,
Yeah.
okay? And you wanted to poke the motherfucker to say, yeah, I get that about the jelly. Get the fucking jelly. And you run away. Years later, one of fucking Sebastian's best fucking bits is.
I did not know that.
Oh, I'm watching for you, kid.
I did not know he dropped the I mean, how do you not want to drop the word Entenmann? It's funny every time, Entenmann.
He dropped it when it was his classic bit about company. When company would come over back in the day.
How does he say it? How did he say it though?
He said everybody was super happy to come
over. No,
and
it's in that Sebastian voice. You got to give me a little bit of, how does he say Entenmann?
Oh, so you break out the Entenmann.
company.
You got company. We got a dish of Entenmann's. Those are for company. And he would throw the fucking Italian accent in. But I hear Entenmann's and I'm like, I'm like,
oh, he didn't slow it down and go, you give me Entenmann's.
Maybe.
Like that. You didn't say it like,
yeah, you got to
you
move
want
the head.
to Entenmann. You didn't do that shit?
He may have. But I give you credit for it first, because your bit about fucking the nothing fight going around the corner, you literally talked about.
That's right. Maniscalco, I beat you to the punch on Entenmann's. Don't you forget it, man.
You heard it here on Breaking the Ice.
Another guy that, talk about Sebastian, man, saw that kid so many years in LA, just, chipping away. And then it's kind of fun when you see somebody figure it out, and obviously their fans meet them in the middle and they just, take it to a whole nother level when you're seeing that person 2 years before and they're struggling to even get stage time. It's awesome to see some of the gang that I came up with really finding that success is very fucking cool.
Yeah, the gang you came up with, you're all doing arenas. And like back when you were doing like the stadium tour, the arenas, there wasn't really anybody else doing it. Like you were,
right.
And now there's a handful.
It was not that there wasn't even really a business strategy for that within stand up. I had to use like Al Dotley was a great music tour. Like everything about it was music. I had to almost enter into the music foray. And now, the Live Nations of the world, now they know how to bake in those ticket sales and sometimes put the right people on the right shows together. And those large scale gigs have kind of become big theaters. You know, those are part of a lot of people's tours now. Even comics that maybe don't have the highest level of notoriety are still doing pretty well on the arena circuit.
Yeah, like if you don't want to do 18 nights in a row at the Wilbur, you do one night.
That's right. You could do it. Yeah. You never know.
Now you're doing one night, and how do people get tickets for the Saturday night show, bro? Again, how do they get it?
So I threw the link is on my profile, my bio on Instagram. But if you just search me, you know, Wang Theater Boston, it'll take you to Ticketmaster, or you can just go to Ticketmaster. And we released the last 350 tickets that are all kind of in that middle area where you were initially going to put a film crew. And because I pulled them out, now we've released those last few tickets. So grab them and come out and see the show of your life here.
Nice.
And
Nice.
sorry to all your TikTok followers that had no idea when we got super, super local.
I know. It's like we're speaking a
TikTok,
different
oh.
language. Yeah.
TikTok,
for
everybody on
joining
TikTok,
us.
thank you for swinging. Oh, you got it, man. I hope let's do this again. Next time I'm back in the region, I'll bring some fucking Kellys by and we'll do it live, kid.
Yeah.
Dude, let's
definitely.
do
Come
it
on.
for
Dude.
Kelly's. Come on,
We'll go to
guys.
Sullivan's for some hot dogs, kid. Yes.
And then Isaiah
right.
will break down your act to you.
But seriously, I got to say, Josh, thank you, man. Josh, you know, popped in on a few of my chats and stuff, and thank you for putting this together. I appreciate it, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. It's
Thank
been
you.
fun. It's been fun talking to you on those Twitter Spaces or whatever the hell they're called.
Yeah, man, those are great. You know, it really is a chance to, you know me, I always like to, you know, pal around with the fans, and I don't like feeling so distant from the people that are
accessible.
wanting to come out and be there, part of the show. So join me in that. If people are listening, you could either TikTok Live, Twitter Spaces, or maybe I'll be back on Breaking the Ice here with the fellas.
Thank you.
One more thing real quick before we let you go. I just noticed this now. Is that a Darth Vader mask? Is that from the movie? Is that was that used in the movie?
Oh my God.
The prop house that made the one in the movie started a prop house where they were like, oh, we're going to make limited edition versions. So they made 20, and then that prop house went out of business. So I have one of the only 20 melted Darth Vader helmets.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I gotta say,
it's fucking heavy, dude. If somebody broke in here and was going to attack me, the first thing I'd grab and chuck is that fucking Vader mask.
yeah.
Imagine how heavy the one from Spaceballs is.
You know, it's heavy because it has the weight of the fucking dark side in it. Dude, I gotta admit, I have a little bit of a chubby going when I just realized what that was. I was like, holy shit, is that real?
The
Wow,
reality
that's awesome,
is,
man.
if I threw a Darth Vader mask at a fucking hooligan and killed him, to be able to say Darth Vader killed somebody trying to break into my home, that would be my Will Smith slapping Chris Rock story for you next time.
Yes.
Awesome.
Guys, thank you so much.
Thank
Hey,
you, Dane.
thank you, Dane.
Thank you.
Thank
Good luck
you.
Saturday night, Wang's Box Center, Wang Theater in Boston. Thanks a lot, man.
You got it, fellas. All right, later.